I don't see how this can go wrong. Okay, Dyna's back on the lift. Like I mentioned previously when I installed the oil cooler, I'm going to go ahead and install an oil pressure gauge so I can monitor the oil pressure more closely. This is the gauge I got. It's a Pan Am 60 PSI gauge. Nothing spectacular. And this is a mechanical gauge, not an electrical gauge, so it has to have a hose run from the oil pressure sensor on the front side of the cam chest with a hose up to wherever the gauge is going to get mounted, which is still kind of a up in the air thing here. I'm not 100% sure yet, but we're going to figure it out. And then to mount this, I got this T-fitting here. So basically, where the stock oil pressure sensor's at, this goes in there. This T goes into that. And then the oil pressure sensor goes back into here, and then you run the hose from here. So it's just an extension of the already existing hole. Makes it pretty easy. But first things first, I need to get this exhaust off because I cannot get to that sensor with these pipes in the way. So we're gonna do that real quick. Okay, so here's the cam chest, here's the back side of the oil filter, and right here is the sensor we need to take off. I'm not sure what size this is. I don't have any wrenches that can fit it. I've already tried a few. So I'm just gonna get a pair of pliers and break this thing loose, spray with some PB Blaster, etc. Get this thing broke loose, and then get the new fitting put in there. And of course, thread tape everything, and we should be good. Okay, so oil is wanting to come out of that, so I'm gonna get the fitting ready so I can just like pop it out, pop the new one in, and get it all tightened back up before I lose too much oil. I don't see how this can go wrong. That is not the right size. Motherfucker. Alright, I'm not 100% sure where I left off on the last video. It's been a couple days. I was waiting on some parts to come in. This is the hose that sends the pressure up to the gauge. And basically what I'm going to do is snip off these ties that are holding together. And I'm going to run it up the inside of the frame, kind of along the clutch cable here, and then mount it up on the handlebars with a gauge mount I got from Axia Alloys. So that's what we're going to do. You want to make sure when you zip tie this cable that you're not pinching it, because that will affect the reading on the gauge. Alright, so a little bit of thread tape on here, and then we'll get the fitting tightened on, and then run run the hose. And I'm going to try to do this as cleanly as possible because I honestly don't like the look of these hoses, especially when they get filled up with oil. It looks super trashy. So I'm going to try to go up the inside here, maybe next to the voltage regulator here, and then again, like I said, up along the clutch line up top here. We'll see what we can make happen here. Alright, so I got the hose ran. Like I said, it went all the way out to the clutch line because the mount I got from Axia Alloys is going to mount right here. And the hose is right here. I have to cut a little bit off, obviously, but I'm going to wait until I get the actual mount in so I don't cut too much off. And then it's as simple as mounting the gauge, plugging this into the back of it, and then the gauge is done. Yeah, I'm waiting on that part to come in. It should be here in a couple days. Seems like everything's taking longer than normal right now, and I don't know why. But it'll be here, and that'll get thrown on, and then we're done. Alright, now we're going to finalize the oil pressure gauge install. I got this sweet-ass mount from a company called Axia Alloys. So this is a swivel mount. Two different clamps. There's a 1-inch clamp and an 1.5-inch clamp that I had to modify a little bit because this is technically 40 millimeters, which is about 1 9/16. So I had to make that work. But it's a swivel mount, like I said. This thing rotates 360 degrees. I'm basically going to put this on the top part of my handlebars right next to my gauge and tilt it down so this is right next to my speedometer. And it should look pretty fucking cool next to it, so we'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and get the backside thread tape on the threads, get this finalized and put on, then get the hose ran through here, do the ferrule fitting on the back, tighten everything down, and we should be good to go. Now we need to cut our hose to length. A little bit of slack never hurt nobody. So probably right about there. Now I need to mount to the bars. That's nice and clean. That looks awesome. Yeah, this, like I said, is from a company called Axia Alloys. Fully customizable mounts. They got a whole bunch of good stuff. Like I said, I did the 1 inch and 1.5 inches on this side. They have a whole range of sizes from something small to like I think 3/4, maybe 1/2 inch was the smallest, all the way up to 2 and 3 inches. So definitely worth checking those guys out. I think this was only about $50 or so, and it's pretty high quality stuff. Yeah, I'm super pleased with how that looks. I know I can get the orange color on here to match this, so it'll look even better. Hell yeah. Alright, so again, sorry for the delay on all the videos. I just had a bunch of stuff going on. Well, between going from both bikes up and running to having no bikes up and running. Kind of wanted to get them both fixed before I put them away for the winter and started doing some other projects. You'll see why the Dyna went down. That's going to be the next video coming out. I'm actually working on that right now under here. Long story, you'll see. And then the Ultra went down with a whole mess of issues. That's what was supposed to be a simple exhaust and ECU upgrade turned into a whole thing. So I'm gonna get some riding footage thrown in here of this gauge in action, seeing how it looks. Pretty easy install though, after I got all the fittings figured out. But yeah, again, Axia Alloys, Pan Am gauge, worked like a charm.